And now, the First Alert Storm Team, live from the 13 Now digital desk. This is Tropic Topics.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our second episode of Tropic Topics. I'm meteorologist Kristen Kennedy, joined with Grace Thornton. We are here to discuss everything that's going on in the Gulf of Mexico as we continue to monitor that area for tropical development. Now, if you joined us last week, we were still talking about the same potential system, and we're here to share you with the latest updates and what we do know at this time. We're going to talk about now our tropical meter, which our chief meteorologist Ross Whitley set up for us. It kind of is a good scale to let you know how concerned to be when it comes to any tropical system that we are talking about. We are still monitoring this area of interest. Nothing has been named at this time. There is not a tropical depression, not a tropical storm, certainly not a hurricane at this time, but we are still very concerned about it as it has potential to strengthen moving over the Gulf of Mexico heading into the next couple of days. Especially by tomorrow, I do think we'll have a better chance to see at least a tropical depression forming, especially as it moves towards the north. Now, a look at our global satellite and radar will show you what we're exactly looking at. It's really coming off the peninsula down in Mexico. It's a wave, and it's just a tropical disturbance, very broad area of low pressure at this time, and extremely disorganized. But there is good potential that as it continues to track off towards the north, that it will become a little bit more organized. In fact, confidence is growing with the National Hurricane Center, as well as all of our meteorologists, that we're continuing to see the trends, that there's a strengthening trend and a good chance to see this turn into something, maybe not today, but more so likely tomorrow. In fact, the National Hurricane Center is going to be sending their aircrafts into the storm to do some analysis a little bit later this afternoon. And so I think by the late afternoon to evening hours, we'll at least have a better idea of what exactly is going on. Here's a look at the tropical outlook, and we are noticing that 90% confidence really increasing in the next 2 days that we will have something going on here. And Grace, it's not just 2 days, it's actually a 90% chance even within 5 days. So say we don't have anything by tomorrow, there's still a very high chance that's going to happen heading into the weekend.
Yeah, and it just continues to grow. Even 24 hours ago, this was at 80% over the next 48 hours. So we're just continuing to see that confidence grow as you really see off to the east there, those orange and yellow spots. That's really the area that we're kind of going to see some moisture shift into that area of red. That's our sort of main tropical development area that we're going to continue to watch even through after this depression does in fact probably in fact develop over the next 48 hours. That's the area to watch, and so it's kind of the warmest area. It's got an okay amount of shear, you know, all the things that we kind of look for tropical development this time of year. We still have that strong ridge off to our eastern end over sort of the peninsula of Florida there, and then low pressure towards the southern Gulf. That's going to make its way. This is just sort of the general track. You see those sort of more bold arrows. That's kind of the general accumulation of most of the models at this point. It could shift a bit farther east, it could shift a bit farther west. If it does take that middle track, it'll be headed towards the southwestern area of Louisiana, and then if it heads a little bit towards the west, possibly Houston, heads towards the east, possibly hitting towards New Orleans as well. But you know, that's not really hitting Panama City anytime soon. So what we're going to experience from this low pressure system, and it's going to remain broad. We're not expecting a huge development, no crazy hurricane or crazy tropical storm at this moment. So really just a broad area of low pressure. So lots of widespread rain, and as it heads towards, you know, the western end of the Panhandle is probably going to see the greater impacts of this, likely just kind of like washout conditions, and even towards our central and eastern areas. We're not expecting that much rain either over, you know, the time period here is about Saturday today through Monday. We're expecting kind of the accumulating rainfall totals to head about 1 to even 4 inches across the Panhandle, and those greatest rainfall totals probably towards our west end, as it is heading sort of curved over into southern Alabama and then heading into the Carolinas and northern Georgia.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a timing difference with this because some of the models are still trying to figure out what exactly it's going to do after it affects us here in the Panhandle. This model specifically is showing it clearing out of our area by Sunday evening. A couple other models are keeping it lagging a bit further across the deep south heading into early next week. And the reason for that is because there will be a cold front trying to come in from the northwest, and the progression of that front is really what's going to be a factor of how much this tropical moisture sticks around or not. If that front is fast moving, it can sweep up the storm rather quickly. However, if it's rather slow and it stalls out, then that's going to leave that tropical moisture in our area through at least the middle of next week. So we're kind of thinking that it's going to be gone by, say, Tuesday. I think by Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, we'll have our general summertime showers and storms back in the forecast. But until then, we are going to be dealing with that tropical moisture certainly coming back, and a lot different than what we're experiencing today in the Panhandle. Now, I've drawn out this forecast map with our FUTURECAST here. The white line is an indication of where exactly the center of the low is going to go. And Grace was just explaining that most of the models are trending that it'll stay between New Orleans and Houston. That's where the center will be, but it's a very lopsided system. So a lot of the rainfall, in fact, probably like 95% of the rainfall is going to be on the east side of the storm. So even though the center is not coming right over Panama City, doesn't matter. We're still going to get those impacts, mainly being the heavy rainfall. And a look at that rainfall total right now, here's the thing. It's been shifting. The numbers have been changing over the past few days. The reason why is because we still don't have anything formed yet. Even the path is still up for debate where exactly it's going to go. It does look like anywhere from Louisiana to Georgia and Florida certainly getting rainfall. How much rainfall is still up for debate depending on how fast the system tracks towards the north, whether it stays over the Panhandle, as we just spoke about, until early next week, or if it gets swept up pretty quick. Right now, it does look like the Panhandle is going to get about 1 to 4 inches of rain, the higher amounts being on the west side, closer to Mobile. So anywhere west of Destin could see about 3 to 4 inches of rain. East of Destin through Panama City, we're looking at about 1 to 3 inches of rain, and certainly further west where you can see kind of a bullseye on the map, that purple there does indicate an area of at least 4 to 6 inches, isolated higher amounts possible. And obviously here we're not looking at 6 inches of rain, but with the rainfall we do get, we could get the possibility of some flooding, especially in areas that have already seen heavy rainfall this week, and or the rivers that we also have to watch out for some rising to occur in those areas as well. So I'm going to include a FUTURECAST here that gives us a little bit better of a local look at what to expect, maybe in your neck of the woods, or if you have family in this area, you can watch it and tell them what to expect also. So throughout this afternoon, we're going to stay relatively dry. We have a weak front down towards our south, and ahead of, or behind it, I should say, there is some drier air coming in, which is why if you step outside, it's not completely disgusting. It's still hot, but it's not quite as humid as it's been this week. Unfortunately, that doesn't last for very long because we are going to see moisture coming in throughout the day, really impacting us more so tonight through tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. Cloud cover is also going to be increasing, so say goodbye to the sun for a few days because it's going to be mostly cloudy. Scattered showers and storms back in the forecast by Friday afternoon, and we'll see a better chance for widespread activity heading into Saturday. Now, it is Father's Day weekend. I know a lot of folks are getting ready and hoping to gear up for a great weekend. Unfortunately, it's not looking very nice for us here in the Panhandle, or even anyone hoping to come and vacation and get some beach time in. This is not a beach weekend with that tropical moisture coming in. Scattered showers and storms are certainly in the forecast by Saturday and Sunday. It looks that we'll see a little bit more widespread activity. Now, there may be some breaks in the rain, and if that's the case, you may be able to head outside for a little bit, but I would not encourage anyone to go to the beaches or really just stay out for too long, because you'll want to have the Storm Track 13 app for tracking the radar. Lightning, if you can hear it, or if you can hear the thunder, if you can see the lightning, you want to go inside as well. Did you have something?
Yeah, Another implication of this storm is our marine conditions and our surf conditions are definitely, I know you said breaks in the rain, you might be tempted to go out on the beach, but it's probably not the best idea for this system. It is going to be kicking up quite a good amount of wind, and onshore wind is really going to, from the south and southeast or southwest, it is going to be coming out of and shifting over towards the eastern end of the Panhandle. That's going to bring really crazy surf, so likely double red flags are going to be flying, so the water's going to be closed anyway. Really, and also for any boaters out there, it's going to be kind of rough terrain through the weekend, likely even through Tuesday into the midweek next week, as we do see that cold front coming through as well. It's going to be a pretty active time period, so just, you want to be weather aware and definitely stay aware of any alerts that are out, or especially if we get severe thunderstorm warnings, things like that. It's probably just not the best time to go to the beach. Stay inside, hang out with your dad.
If you can slip out today's the best day to do it, and even stay on the water today, but starting tomorrow, you're going to want to stay off the beaches and off the water as well. A great thing to note, because the marine warnings and everything, will probably have quite a few around here, with just those sea waves coming and increasing. The periods between them are going to be very short, and the rip current risk is already very high. We already have red flags flying today, and we're not even feeling the impacts just yet today. So double reds certainly looking likely as we head into the weekend. A closer look at those rainfall totals to give you a better idea of what to expect in Northwest Florida. I've gone ahead, and this is showing you from basically right now until Tuesday morning, which is kind of the time period of which we think most of the showers and storm activity will be ongoing. Notice through Panama City and east, we're going to see likely about an inch of rain to possibly 3 inches of rain at the most in our easternmost areas. Meanwhile, to the west, that's where we could see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain. This is not looking like a very significant event for our area. It's certainly nothing to panic about. You should be prepared for scattered showers, some thunderstorms, again, the potential for flash flooding, and a very low end severe risk when it comes to any tropical water spouts or tornadoes trying to form. This is certainly nothing to be overly concerned about, but we do want to make sure you are prepared and at least just aware of what's going to occur this weekend. So off towards our west, obviously past Pensacola, we get a little bit more red showing up on the map. That's where the heaviest rain will be, again, in far southern Alabama as well as Mississippi. So just to wrap it up for you, here's a look at your local storm impacts. Grace, do you want to go over this?
All right, yeah. So we're looking at winds. That's kind of what we were talking about for. That's going to be the main impactor for our beach and boating conditions. That's going to bring possibly some surge, but maybe not a big amount of a surge. Probably seas up to maybe 4 to 6, maybe. Winds coming in at 15 to 30 miles per hour, and that could also increase as if we do see our area of development kind of become a depression or possibly a tropical storm through the next few days. So it's possible we could see some higher gusts, but the main days are going to be Saturday and Sunday. For our rainfall, we're looking at anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of rain, mostly. Isolated areas may see more of that, likely to our west. Escambia County, Santa Rosa, in even western portions of Walton County could or Okaloosa, could possibly see some flooding along the rivers and just a little bit of surge on those beaches as well. Our main threat for severe weather, it's possible that some of those rain bands could bring in a low-end tornado threat, and if we do have that tornado threat, we'll know about that ahead of time, and we'll make sure that we'll be here and prepared to go on air if we do get a tornado warning. Dangerous surf and high rip risk conditions. That's always a hard one. I know. As that surf does build from those southwesterly winds, we're more than likely going to be seeing some dangerous surf and high rip risk conditions. Likely, I wouldn't be surprised if double reds go up for that Saturday, Sunday period as well.
Yeah, and just to go over what you mentioned as well with the winds, with the increase that may occur. Again, that would be if there's a tropical depression forming or a tropical storm even, and especially more so if that the track shifts a little bit further off towards the east, because then we'll be closer to the center, even though it's not going to be a very strong storm to begin with. But the farther you get away from the center is the weaker that's going to be. So this is going to be still a very sloppy storm system as it comes through. That's why we also are watching for a low-end tornado threat with any tropical system coming onto shore. You can't completely rule out isolated, brief spin-up tornadoes. Typically, you see more activity when it's at least a tropical storm. It has a little bit more vertical shear as well as velocity to work with. So because this is not a strong storm at this moment, and it doesn't look like it's going to be when it comes into our area, that's why we're thinking that it's going to be a very, very low threat for tornadoes. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center, I was looking at some of their forecast products earlier today, and they have not even outlined anything for severe weather across the Panhandle or even most of the Gulf Coast Saturday and Sunday, when it's not only going to be impacting us here, but also locations off towards the west. So right now, it's not looking like a huge severe weather threat when it comes to at least tornadoes, but we of course are going to have our eye on it and watching it all this weekend. I know Grace.
Yeah, meteorology, you always want to, cover your end a little bit. In case there is something that pops up, we will be covering it and we'll let you know ahead of time.
Do we have any questions, Spencer?
You guys have kind of gone over everything. We had some good questions in here. A lot of people worried about the weekend, this weekend, and just what the weather is going to be like.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not the best weekend.
Carrie was asking about winds, and you guys just went over
winds. Okay.
So yeah.
Well, another thing with the winds, if we do get some heavier rainfall or like major downpours occurring and it gets a little bit gusty, you have to always watch out for maybe like some tree limbs trying to fall. I don't think we're gonna see anything too significant that would really knock down trees, but just be aware that heading into Saturday and Sunday, especially with that heavy rainfall, because this ground is going to be wet, if we do get some stronger gusts to come through, it could cause some of those trees to start swaying a little bit more and or knock over some limbs or a young or old tree. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. And also, there's a very low end threat for power outages. It's not really a concern at this time because it is just going to be a weak and sloppy storm. So overall, our impacts are pretty low, as you can see there on the graphic. Nothing's a major concern. Nothing's it's just all of it we just have to watch for, and of course we're going to keep you up to date when it's happening in the moment.
Yeah, I know Ross was telling me a little bit earlier, he was saying wintertime cold fronts that come through this area, kind of expect a similar kind of thing from that. Maybe some gusty winds, some heavy downpours, that kind of thing, but nothing that you really need to be too concerned about. But I would say not the beaches or marine, but maybe don't go out of the boat, don't go to the beach, but otherwise
stay in and find some other nice things to do for your dads or to just celebrate a vacation. There's lots of stuff to do around here in the Panhandle, so I know you can definitely find something to enjoy. If you want to be over prepared, I know a lot of people are still struggling with the after effects of Hurricane Michael. You can always have a severe weather safety kit ready to go, and some of those things that you might want to include are batteries, flashlights, the just in case stuff. We're not anticipating you actually needing to use it for this storm system, but having some food on standby, water on standby, charging all your mobile devices, those are great things that you always want to do whenever there's a weather threat. This is not a big one, but if it makes you feel better and you're fully prepared, I say go for it.
Yeah, and on our Storm Track 13 app, you can put your town in there and you can get updates if there's anything coming your way or nearby. So that's always a good thing. That's what I like to look for. Yeah,
great app. And you can also view the radar and track those rain bands. I know we'll be posting about it basically all weekend with updates as well on all of our social media and platforms. And you can also save your location for those alerts, those severe alerts if there are any. And you can also get our actual forecasts. I think we're one of the only places that actually plugs in the forecast that we make on our own. So you're definitely going to get everything you need from that app if we're not on air.
Yep.
All right. I think that's all we got for you guys. Thank you all for joining us. And again, we'll be continuing to track this tropical system and have more developments throughout the day today. Grace is going to be on tonight at 5, 6, and 10.
5, 6, and 10.
All right. And I'll be back tomorrow morning and we'll keep you guys all up to date. And of course, we'll have more updates throughout the weekend as the system starts to actually impact our area.
Yep.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us, the First Alert Storm Team and News 13 with this Tropic Topics.